want to start a fish farm at your backyard, but you don't know where to start or how to begin? Well, you are in the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you DIY, that is do it yourself, home fish farm setup. And I'm going to give you 8 simple steps which you have to follow if you intend to set up a fish farm at your backyard. So please stay watching. Tend to keep fish or to rear fish at your backyard or at your home. First thing you have to do is you need to have your species selected. Which type of fish do you intend to rear? And that type of fish, which species? Because the fish, as they have type, within the types, they also have different species within that type. And each species is subjected to several behavior and characteristics. So you need to know the best one that will suit your environment and then to select that speech appropriately. After selecting the speech, and when you are selecting the speech, consider factors like growth rate, strong immune system, and all these factors will contribute. After selecting the speech, the second thing you need to do is to plan your system. Planning your system involves selecting the type of fish farm that you have to run. We have several types. We have the pond system, we have the tank systems. Yes, if you talk about the pond system, we can talk about plastic ponds, we can talk about concrete ponds, we can talk about glass ponds, earthen ponds, and all this. There are 5 pond systems that we have or that are common. However, if you are intending to keep the fish at your backyard or at your home, there are specific fish ponds that you can keep. It will be very difficult or not ideal to keep earthen pond at your home. So make sure that when you are selecting the fish pond, you consider factors. So you can consider either tarpaulin pond or concrete pond. These are the most common. Or plastic pond. And if you are intending to keep the fish as ornamentalists or to grow them for beautification, then going in for glass pond will be very beautiful, where you will see the fish swimming beautiful in the pond. So that is what ornamentalists are keeping. And to guide you select the pond, I will give you some of the characteristics of tarpaulin pond and concrete ponds, because these are the 2 common home fish farms, or these 2 are the common ones people have at their backyard. To begin with, the concrete ponds are ponds that are constructed from concrete or building materials such as cement, iron rods, bricks, and all this. It is strong, durable, and control temperature of the water, especially when the temperature is hot. But other downside is that concrete ponds are not mobile. If you decide to stop or to take it off, you can just fold your things and go, unlike tarpaulin pond. Now with the tarpaulin pond, it is made from tarpaulin materials or lining, which is supported by a frame that's made either by metals or PVC or wood or whatever that will make to support the tarpaulin to stand. You can shape it anywhere or anyhow you want it. It could be circular, rectangular, square, whichever. You can shape it that way and put it down. And the advantage is that it is mobile. Anytime you decide not to farm, you can pick it away. And it's also less costly. But the downside is that It has a shorter lifespan as compared to concrete pond. So decide which one will be best. And also selecting among these two, the space at your home or the location at where you want to put it can also determine which type of pond that you should put in. So all this you need to consider. So apart from the pond system as part of your plan in your system, you can also talk about tank system. The tank system is also a pond that is made of tanks. And the tank could be either a cut of poly tank, which is very common, or you can customize a tank to serve as a fish pond. It works like the plastic or the tarpaulin fish pond. They both have similar characteristics. And to make it more lovable as planning your home fish farm, you can incorporate aquaponics. Aquaponics is where you grow crops soillessly by using water from the waste of the fish, which will serve as fertilizer to grow the crop. In this case, you are using one stone to kill two birds. You will grow vegetables and fish at the same time at your home. So you can also plant aquaponics and add it to the plan of your system. The third step you need to take when you're planning your home fish farm is setting up your tank or your pond system. Now, I have enumerated the characteristics, the elevated disadvantages of selecting the ponds. Now you have decided to select either tarpaulin or concrete or whichever type. Now, after setting up the pond, you need to make sure that you set up these things to have a suitable fish farm at your home. If it's a tank or pond, it's applicable to any of them. First is filtration system. Filtration system, such as recirculating aquatic system, filters the insoluble particles and the waste from the fish and break down the ammonia and other chemicals and make it useful to the fish. In this system, the same water is recirculated and filtered, and for that matter, you don't always change the water in the pond. If you're also using this system, the farm will not be smelly, and that is why it is ideal for home or for cities. Because if you don't have these systems in place and your water needs changes and you don't change, you will find the place to be smelly, which you will not like at your home. And your neighbors will not like it as well. So filter up filtration system is very, very important. I have a full video on filtration system. You can check it out. The second thing you can also add is aeration system. Aeration system is also adding oxygen into the fish pond, complementing the natural oxygen in the pond. This makes it also easy and simple to use that same water continuously. So it is working together with the filtration system. So it is a combination of pumps and PVC pipes, just like the filtration system. So fixing these two will help you a lot. Now the fourth one is heating systems. And this depends on the weather condition. Places where the weather is very cold, such places, if you are keeping the cold blood types of fish, like the catfish, sometimes you need to heat up their pond to a suitable environment for them. So providing heaters, if you are using in such cold places, is very important. Even though that kind of weather is not common in Africa. It's only common in Africa during Harmattan season at West Africa and other parts. So in that case, you can provide heaters to always heat the temperature of the water in the pond. You should also have water test kits That will always test the water quality to make sure that the water contains the appropriate parameters, such as pH level, oxygen level, nitrogen level, ammonia level. All these are very important for your fish, and they have a required percentage that it should be in the farm. Excessive of most of them is dangerous. So having a test kit to always test, it will help you a lot. I'll leave a link in the description for test kit. You can check that one out. You can also provide lighting system. This is optional, but it helps the fish, especially during night time. It also protects your farm from thieves and predators who will always hide at darkness to cause harm at your farm. The lighting system will help. The lighting system will always also make sure that, or it will always also make insects to fall into the fish pond where the fish will grab a supplemental feed. So this is optional, but it merits when you provide it in your fish pond. The fourth step you need to take when you set up your home farm is preparing the water. Preparing the water in which you are going to have your fish in. We assume that it is at your home, so you have water already. We are not going to talk about source of water for your farming. No, I have a complete video on how to set up farm. There we talk about it. You can check it out. But here, the water is ready at home. Now, how do you prepare it for the fish? First of all, disinfect the fish tank. When you are stocking fish into a new fish pond, you need to treat that fish pond first to disinfect it from all bacteria and fungi or fungi. Otherwise, it will always harm your fish, especially if you have constructed a newly concrete pond. You need to cure, and the curing process are many, but I'll tell you one. You can put in water and add plantain or banana leaves and stalks into the pond and allow the leaves to soak in the pond for about 2 weeks or more before you drain the water, wash it properly before putting in water and adding the fish. If it is tarpaulin, plastic, or other ponds, you don't need that much. Salt bathing is enough. You can put salt solution in water and rub the surface, and it will be okay. Or you can decide to put the salt solution in the pond and leave it overnight or 2 days time. It's okay. It is not as tedious as the concrete because the material used to construct the concrete ponds, cement and those chemicals are harmful to the fish. That's why the curing process requires a lot of effort in terms of concrete pond. Now, after disinfecting, I am saying dechlorination because if you are using the Metropolitan Assembled tap water, such source contains chemicals that are not good for fish. So when you're using that water, it is good to always allow it for some few days so the chemicals in there or the chlorine in there will evaporate or will go off before introducing it into the fish. So you can have a separate storage where you can always store for some few days before transferring into the fish pond. And if you are putting it directly to the fish and the fish are already in the water, don't always drain the water completely before topping up. Drain it and add it to the already existing, and it will neutralize it. Now, the third thing is regular testing. That is to ensure your water is always quality. Make sure you always test to know the parameters of the water. I've mentioned that earlier. Getting a test kit will help you. The fifth step to take is to stock your fish. Now, stocking your fish, you need to consider 3 important things. Earlier, talk about the species. We're not talking about that. First, when you bring the species or when you bring the fish, make sure that you acclimate your fish. Acclimation is introducing the fish into the pond gradually. The fish, as you brought them from different environment in different water, don't just put them into a new water once. This may cause shocks. So acclimation has to do with mixing the new water, the new water that they're going to go in, into the already existing water, and then they will feel it gradually till they finally get into that water. For instance, you can put the can or whatever you bring them into the pond and lower it gently so that the water will be entering, it will mix in, and then the temperature will not change once, and then they will follow that and get back into the fish pond. The shocks will be better. You can also, the second thing you need to consider is stocking density. Stocking density has to do with the number of fish that you are going to put into the fish pond. So make sure that you do not overstock your fish, as overstocking is very dangerous for the fish. It leads to competition for resources such as oxygen and feed. And it also causes cannibalism and other consequences. So make sure that you stock your fish pond appropriately. Because when you also understock, you are leaving a lot of fish or money on the table because you are stocking lesser than the capacity of the fish pond. So make sure that you have a balance between understocking and overstocking. So stocking the fish pond appropriately is very important. The third thing has to do with adding antibiotics. After you have put in the fish, because of the travel far away or from one pond or from one pond to another, and the travel stress, they have stress in them. So put in antibiotics to reduce the stress. The antibiotics can be medicated one or use natural, such as bitter leaves. Add it to the pond and then it will release the stress. And make sure that you do not just feed the fish immediately after stocking them. Leave them for about 6 hours or even up to 12 hours before you give them their first feed. 6 that you need to take is feeding your fish. Feeding your fish is very important because feed contributes to the highest cost of production. And it also ensures the growth of your fish. So these are the things that you need to consider. Choose right quality of fish feed. Fish feed quality is very important. If you're going to buy commercial feed, get the best one that will help them grow. The feed is also made of pellets and sizes. Get the right size for the right fish at the right time. I have a comprehensive video on that. Check that one out in the description. What you also need to do is to have a good feeding schedule. If they are so small or fingerling, you can feed them twice or thrice a day. Preferable, I like twice a day, morning and evening, from my own experience. So when you feed them in the morning, in the evening, when they are so small, and as they grow, when they grow bigger, maybe 4 or 5 months, you can now be feeding them once a day. But make sure that you give it enough that can keep them to the following day. The third thing to consider for the feeding is getting the right feeding method. Overfeeding is very dangerous. So if you're not careful and you always pour your feed into the pond, you may overfeed your fish and that will lead to mortality. So make sure that you do the responsive feeding method. Give them small at a time and see how they respond to it, and you add them more till they realize that they are satisfied, then you leave them. So make sure that you don't overfeed your fish. And if so underfeed them, they won't grow. So get the right method of feeding, and that is the responsive feeding method. The fourth and the last thing to consider for the feeding is monitoring. When you're feeding them, monitor how they eat, like I said, and monitor their growth. If their growth is very slower, it is possible you're not giving them enough feed. You can increase or try to get supplementary feed, such as natural feed, like the plant-based feed or the insect-based feed. and that will help you a lot. The 7 steps to take is maintenance. Maintaining your fish farm is as important as setting up the fish farm because that will ensure your success. And to do that, always have daily checks. When you come in the morning, check to see whether everything is all right. I have a video on my daily routine, which I have given you all that you need to check in the morning. Make sure you check everything. The health of the fish, whether there's mortality. If you are running a recycle ecosystem, check everything. Do your cleaning. The day checkups are very important. Water changes as part of the maintenance. If the water is dirty, change it. If you are not using the filtration system, make sure that you change the water at most every week. Especially depends on the stocking density. If the stocking density is higher, make sure that always change the water. When you see the water is dirty, change it. Otherwise, it will affect the fish and the place will also be smelling. The last thing to do under maintenance is to always clean the tank. Don't allow the algae and the dust to always be in the pond. It can contaminate the water. So always clean it, and that keeping the daily maintenance will help your fish to be strong and successful. What you have to do is, after you have done all that, now you are getting to harvesting. Harvesting your fish. To harvest your fish, prepare. That is, arrange all the tools that are required. Talk about the net that you are going to use, the harvesting net. It could be scooping net or dragging net. Get your net ready. Get all your basins ready, and you are ready to go. When you are going to harvest them, do that gently and to minimize or avoid overstressing them or hunting them. And before you harvest, make sure that you do homework. If you're going to sell your fish, about your market, get the market ready, because fish is perishable. If you don't get market ready and you harvest them, they'll perish. If you're going to smoke, fine, but getting the market ready will help. So when you're done with all that, you have harvested successful, you enjoy your fish, then you restock your pond, clean, put in water, and put fish again. And by that, you have had experience. Now, next video, watch it out, will be on tips for successful fish farming. Now, after you have set up, what are tips that will make you successful? So stay tuned. But I hope this video is helpful. I've provided you with 8 steps to consider when you are setting up your fish farm. So this, if you have found value, I beg, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, and let's reach more fish farmers. All we need is let's be successful as fish farming. I'm sharing tips based on my experience and my research. Thank you very much for watching.